Hey, what's up? I just want to tap in with some ideas that were on my mind, and so this is a musical channel. The channel has been inspired by musically because I deeply enjoy music, but what I've come to realize is that anything that we do, whether musically, artistically, like content, anything, you can have the most sophisticated, the most thought out, even maybe like clever and creative, but what really is going to count for something is like when it is really who we are. I think that's what even connects about something, like more than like how maybe unique, original, what have you. What really amounts to something is if this is really who we are and as we are is what someone can appreciate. Because I think that's it's not so much real or fake. I think because I think that all of us have a degree of realness and fakeness, and you actually need a little bit of both, like in human terms. Because if you were it's like something, it's more of a skill and it's a fine thing to be real than it would seem, because we're still tasked to be tactful, and then there's different like nuances for like what flies like with conduct and different people, and it is, I think it's different. So you have like all different kind of aircraft, but all aircraft can't fly the same way. They have to do what works for that, what's viable for that particular aircraft, with like with it is its with its scale and its dynamics. And I think it's the same with people and with content. So this is, I've been inspired musically, but I'm also being like original, being who I really am, which is like with the title, like with the pet theories. And then but that can also lend toward music. Like I've done like some recent videos about how I'm going with music. And an example of that is like one thing I've been doing is so I've been taking a guitar with me most places, because one is that it's kind of, I've said in other videos that it's been thought, I don't have this reference, but that it's not in a lot of cultures, world cultures abroad, it's appreciated that it's not healthy for a human being to have attachments to people or things. According to Arthur Avalon, the people in our life, even as much as we love people, are kind of like birds that settle on a tree, and they're together for a moment and then they're dispersed. And that's actually a little bit like deeper and more romantic and even more nostalgic than if people were just always guaranteed to be together. But then even that doesn't also mean that birds are not connected, because you could say maybe birds are connected deeper than people if you just appreciate how you always see birds of the same feather together in any weather, and under any weather, and they hibernate and whatnot, but they come back and they're always together, and they always know where each other are somehow, even though they don't have the communication that we have, like with digital communication. And before cell phones and pagers, you could really get lost from somebody, like even at a mall or a fair or a building. You could really get lost from people in the past. Um, Not to mention like moving or migrating. But yet birds are still connected, even though they come together like with inspiration and like spontaneity and like to a moment. So it's almost like the moment is greater than the members of the moment. But I've been but from that line of thought, that there's an exception that a soldier's attachment to what protects them is a different form of attachment than the normal things, and that might actually be a healthy form of attachment, the way that a soldier would be attached to something that protects them. And then I've extrapolated that maybe it's similar with an instrument, and then maybe also like with being a guardian of a child to some degree, that attachment is a different purpose and therefore nature than other attachment to people. But even some of those may be dispensed with at some point. Even our understanding of ourself, our identity in our own body, once at last we must depart with that also. And then maybe what we've done is the only thing that will remain, and what we really intended and meant to others and what others meant to us is what has real meaning, deeper than anything that we're attached to. But I've been taking the instrument in a lot of different places with me, and really just taking advantage of any. A lot of times you go through a day and you might be forced to wait for different things. Now, if you develop enjoyment with an instrument to where you enjoy the instrument, that to me that's the greatest outcome of playing instruments, is when you get to the point of enjoying it, and it doesn't take fanfare to get there. But also playing publicly can help with the enjoyment and the sensation of being an authentic player, I think. But it doesn't take more than playing with something to be a player. So and that goes for anything. But but it can actually be fun to wait for things. And sometimes when you're forced to wait, there's a little bit of an etiquette in waiting for around, and people can kind of get a little bit anxious waiting around and even on edge. But if you have an instrument, then and you're tasteful and tactful, it's in the first place fun. You're also availing yourself of an opportunity, and it's just a smoother way to be. And when I do so, I sit on the floor as much as I can because I have cooler experience. I'm a very Some people would think that I tower when I walk in life, but it's actually I get cooler reactions when I'm sitting on the floor, and for being tall and whatnot, people actually come in closer and want to know what I have to going on and who I am when I'm way down on the floor with something. So if you want to get good, you got to get low, you got to get little. But it's actually, I think it's more graceful to sit on the floor, and I think it might be more healthy just in terms of creativity and also personality, just to get in the habit of sitting on the floor. But then I try to do so that I don't look like I'm looking for I'm looking for to be tipped or compensated, because I think that we should never turn away a tip or compensation, but also to make a person feel obliged. Even an instrument is influential, and it's a little bit of a degree of leverage having an instrument in life, especially as romantic as guitar is. So I think it's good to be like sober and about bearing an instrument like that, and not to use it to put to not to use undue influence by positioning in such a way that someone would feel obliged to tip, but just a tasteful way to look like, I'm enjoying waiting, and I'm taking advantage of my existence, my breath, my existence, my unique opportunity to exist in whatever way, to avail myself of enjoying something even while I wait somewhere. But also just there's a little bit of a grace and a tact to it, like with anything. Also like humor and banter and stuff like that. But part of that is like with the pet theory. There goes somebody's pet right there. My pets aren't my pets. Maybe my pets are as obnoxious as that, but at least someone might click on my pet theories. But I don't always click on my neighbors. Um, that's actually what I was going to talk a little bit about. I was actually going to talk about dogs with this next one. But so I got some more pet theories coming up.